get ready to live a very shimmery life as we look at 5 of the standout objects from the Crystal Creation Stuff Pack that you need to start using. Let's go! First up is the most important object that the pack brings, being the all-in-one Gemology Table. This costs 650 simoleons and it'll allow your sim to both cut gemstones and design jewelry, not to mention that you can also open up the table and store crystals and metals in it, which can be handy for clearing up some inventory space. Cutting gemstones simply requires you to choose a gemstone cut and a crystal, with more cuts available at higher gemology skill levels, including the very cute crystal gnome at level 10. We all love a gnome. When it comes to choosing a crystal, know that the table will let you use both common and uncommon crystals even if you don't own them, but understandably not having them will see you incur a steeper cost. When it comes to rare crystals though, you'll need to have found the actual crystal before you can use it when cutting gems or crafting jewelry. When making jewelry, you'll need to choose a design of either a necklace, ring, bracelet, or earring, and more designs will become available at higher gemology skill levels. You'll also need to choose a metal and a crystal to be used in the creation of your jewelry piece. And once again, just like with crystals, both common and uncommon metals can be used even if you don't own them for an increased price. However, rare metals will need to be owned in order to then be used. When crafting jewelry, metal is only important in terms of the color scheme or the visual look of what you create, but the crystal used will determine the power of the piece of jewelry or the cut gemstone after it's charged on the crystal grid, hence making the choice of crystal much more important. Though also know that sadly if your creation comes out botched then it'll have no bonus powers. Note that a cut gemstone's power will have an area of effect, while on the other hand a piece of jewelry's power will just impact on the sim who is wearing that piece of jewelry. To wear jewelry, simply click on it from either your inventory or in the game and select to wear it with either your current outfit or every outfit. And you can also gift jewelry to other sims too, which will generally see them change into it right away. Additionally, if you like someone and you want to put a ring on it, then when you have a crafted ring in your inventory, you'll be able to propose with a crafted ring before selecting the ring that you made, and this can add a very personal touch to the big moment. Also, if you don't have any interest in the jewelry that you make, then you can sell it for some simoleons too. It is worth knowing that a higher gemology skill level will only unlock new gemstone cuts and jewelry designs, but as the power of your creations is based on what crystal is used, you can essentially get jewelry that has some of the most powerful crystal effects even at level 1. Two of the biggest standouts to me is that gemstones or jewelry made using plumbite will see a sim's needs slowly increase over time, and that jewelry or gemstones made using jet will allow your sim to summon the Grim Reaper at will. However, also keep in mind that gemstones and jewelry will only have their powers available if they've been charged on the crystal grid, which brings us to the second object, being the mystical Moonlight crystal grid. In order for gemstones and crafted jewelry to have their powers come into effect, they first must be charged by being placed onto the crystal grid, which can have up to 7 gemstones or pieces of jewelry placed on it at once. Jewelry is then charged by the power of Moonlight, and so it will only charge when placed outdoors from 7 PM through the night to 7 AM. Additionally, the phase of the moon in the lunar cycle will influence the speed in which your jewelry charges, with it charging the slowest during a new moon and it charging incredibly fast during a full moon. Another cool thing to note is that you can pop the mystical Moonlight crystal grid in your inventory and whip it out anywhere, which is particularly handy when visiting the hidden worlds of the Forgotten Grotto and the Sylvan Glade, as in these worlds you'll even be able to charge up your jewelry during daylight hours. Once fully charged, a crystal's power lasts for 2 full days before it'll need to be recharged. But keep in mind that while gemstones will lose charge while being out in the world, wearable jewelry will only lose charge when worn, meaning that if it's used with outfits that your sim doesn't wear all that often, then it could remain charged for much longer. The third object that we're going to look at is a very quick one now, being the jewelry box and display box. Both of these objects can be great as decor and work particularly well on a vanity table or dresser. More importantly is that they can also be opened and have jewelry stored inside of them, which is an awesome touch, particularly considering how you can end up crafting heaps of different jewelry types. This allows you to store them in a realistic way and keeps your Sims inventory a bit tidier too. Next up, we're going to look at the crystal tree. This is most reliably obtained by cutting a seed-shaped gemstone using any crystal on the Gemology table at level 3 of the Gemology skill. Then once made, you'll be able to plant this gemstone just like you would any other plant. And after an eye-wateringly long 7 days, if your sim hasn't passed away yet, then it'll grow into a stunning and very wintry looking crystal tree. Once grown, every morning at around 5 AM, this tree will produce 5 crystals that you can harvest. And the higher quality your crystal tree is, the rarer the crystals it produces will be. A normal quality tree will only produce common crystals. Nice and excellent quality trees will produce common and uncommon crystals, and then finally magnificent and perfect quality trees can produce common, uncommon, and most importantly rare crystals. And of course, because of this, you'll want to regularly fertilize your tree to increase its quality. Overall, it's a really fun way to obtain crystals, and a magnificent or perfect quality tree can produce every crystal from the collection over time, which is super helpful. And now, the 5th standout object from the pack that I want to mention is one of the crystals itself, being Moonstone. Moonstone is an uncommon crystal, and once cut into a gemstone or made into jewelry and then charged on the crystal grid, it will see your Sims bored moodless disappear 10 times faster than usual. Now this is pretty cool in itself, however where this crystal really shines is in how it impacts on the occult Sims of vampires, spellcasters, and werewolves. Firstly, it'll make vampires' thirst decay slower, and from my testing, it'll reduce the thirst needs decay rate by around half. Then spellcasters will never fail their spells if they are in an uncharged state, and if they're in a charged state then their fail rate will be cut in half. Finally, if a werewolf sim makes use of a charged moonstone, then their fury will increase at half the usual rate, and additionally their werewolf rampages will end 5 times faster. In short, it's great for making your vampires and werewolves feel a little bit more civilized and in control of their more chaotic sides, and for giving your spellcasters better control of their magic. Now just before finishing up, I did want to talk about a few honorable mentions. Firstly, this stuff pack comes with a sales table that functions exactly like those from the City Living and Eco Lifestyle expansion packs, and by putting your jewelry up for sale on this and setting the markup to 300% before running a yard sale using this table, you can then make some huge profits from selling jewelry. And know that these profits will be much higher than if you just sold jewelry straight from your Sim's inventory or in buy mode. Secondly, the pack comes with many different kinds of shelves, but most notably is the shelving by Blick Block, which functions like the cubes from the Dream Home Decorator game pack. They will snap together to create custom displays, and as they're closed shelves with a glass cover, they feel so perfect for displaying collections of any size. The overall style and the swatches also look really well suited to use in a museum style lot as well. And the final honorable mention is the Athenium ladder bookcase. Now really this is just a bookcase, but wow is that ladder giving. The bookcase also snaps together so well with itself for beautiful full wall displays. It's hard to explain why, but the ladder just sets it apart and makes it feel really cool. And with that, we're at the end. If you enjoyed this video, then feel free to check out some of my other videos on standout objects from other packs if you like. And as always, I hope you have an amazing day. See you later!